How's everybody doing today? I see a lot of white chef jackets. Hi, I'm Chef Nadia. This is Shakira. Thank you so much for being here. What are we going to talk about today? The most popular subject that all teenagers love.
Well, today I would like to introduce you to organic farming and talk to you a little bit more about where your food comes from, and so you can know better how to source your products and how to use them. So I'm going to be showing a small PowerPoint presentation, so just give me a few minutes to get that ready and get this going.
Yeah, you guessed it. We're talking about vegetables today. How many of you know of somebody, while we get that presentation, by a show of hands, because we can see you here, like Squid Games, I can see you. How many of you know of somebody that is, of someone that is a migrant farm worker? Anybody? Show of hands. Nobody knows a farm worker, a migrant que se va para Michigan, said pick less cherries, right? So we all know of our conocidos, our familia. There's a lot of people in our lives that, you know, go out and do farming. Now, Shakira does a completely different type of farming, and we are going to learn all about that today.
Yeah, so I want to take some time to thank Chef Nadia for inviting me, and Dr. Guerra. Chef has been a big supporter of local farms. She goes out and sources her products from the farmers and gets it directly and fresh. So we met while she was working at a restaurant that was sourcing their products straight from our farm, and it was a pleasure to go and share all the goodness that we were growing with her, and she could in turn share that with her customers. So right now I'm going to show you this short presentation, and we're going to start with a short little question for you, okay? So what is organic farming? Any of you have any experiences with farming or know what organic is? You may have heard of it or seen it in the, on this symbol on some of your food. It's
expensive, right? That's all I know is it's expensive.
Well,
right?
there's that perception that everything organic is expensive. But when you compare the quality of the product that you receive, you know the value and the worth, and then after all, you realize it's not quite expensive as you think. So organic farming is basically farming in harmony with nature. So we don't use anything that is man-made. So we don't use fertilizers, pesticides, or herbicides. So we don't use any chemicals on your food. Also, you may have heard of GMO, or genetically modified food, that's been altered by scientists to be resistant to certain diseases, but they change the chemical structure of the food, so it's not natural. So we don't use any GMO products, and in order to improve the soil, we use natural things like compost, and we'll talk more about that later. So that's what organic farming is. And I was like you, when I was in high school or even in college, I had no clue what organic farming is. Actually, my background is in nursing. I was...
That's you as a nurse.
That's me. Yeah, that's me as a nurse. I graduated from the University of Florida in 2004 with a degree in nursing. So that's my background. And I had no idea 15 years later I would be in that second picture standing in a farm on a cold winter day, happy to be harvesting spinach. So there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of value in organic farming, and just want to share a little bit about how I made the career change and how they're similar. So me and my husband, we started farming, mostly not farming, but gardening. This is a picture of my little girl there when she was about 1 year old, and we wanted to give her the best. You know, you want the best for your family, and we didn't find it in our area. It was a time when there wasn't a lot of organic products in the stores, and there were very few selections at the farmers market, so we decided, hey, why not grow it ourselves? So that's why we started growing organically, so we could give her food that doesn't have the pesticides or the chemicals. And we do it for our own health because we've learned that those products are actually more nutritious for us. They have more nutrients and vitamins, and also to protect the environment. So that's why I got into organic farming. So I just have a question for you. How many of you actually know where your food came from that you ate today? Do you know where it was grown and who grew it? Show of hands, anybody? Can't see you, but.
Everyone says HEB. One person?
I'd be curious to find out like how they knew.
How did they know? Yeah, tell us how. Who told you? Who told you where your corn comes from?
And many of you may not think about it, but most of our food travels 1,500 miles before it even gets to us.
That's from here to
California?
Colorado, 1,700. Wow, that's a long trip. That's 17 hours. I make that drive often.
And in that time, it's been in the truck, it's shipped, and it's making the carbon footprint, and you're paying the extra cost. And also, by the time it gets to you, it's not as fresh as if you would have picked it the day before or the same day. And it's important for us to know who's growing our food. We have a lot of trust in the farmers that we don't know, and it's something that really impacts our health. So I want you to think about that. You know, you might know more the person who's fixing your car, or you might know better your mechanic or your dentist, or you might even know better someone who does your hair or your nails. But those things don't affect you as much as what you put in your body. So just give that some thought. You know, why is it important for me to know who's growing my food and how do they actually grow it? Now I want to show you this picture. This young man, he came out to visit us last year, and he was so excited to actually go and get his own broccoli that he cut. And there's a big difference between when you cut it yourself or when you go and you buy it from the store.
Or when you defrost it.
Yes, or when you defrost it and when it's frozen. So today I want to introduce you to some local farmers right here in your area.
Aww.
This is my family. First, there's my husband, Juan Raygoza. He actually did study agriculture, so he's the farmer. He has a master's in soil science, and right now he's serving at UTRGV, teaching young farmers. And that's myself in the back, and I have a daughter, she's 15. Second, Kanani, she's 12, and my little boy, Andres, is 8. So these are your local farmers here.
Yay.
We all grow, they all participate in the farm, from, you know, weeding to planting to,
delivering. He used to deliver with you at the restaurant.
Yes,
yeah.
he would love going into the back of the restaurant to see all the things going on in the kitchen. He's a little chef too. He likes to get in the kitchen too.
He's a little chef.
So I want to tell you a little bit about how we started into farming, in case you're curious. You know, you don't really have to have an agriculture background like myself. We started very, very small back in 2008. This is a picture of us with a friend. He had some extra space, and he actually let us plant in his backyard. And he was very nice, and he actually helped us along the way and got involved and learned himself. And we planted those squash plants, and then a couple of months later, we were blessed with beautiful squash that you see in this little box right there. And we grew flowers and some yellow zucchini and cucumbers. And that's how we started, just by borrowing a little garden space from a friend. And then we even branched out into our own backyard. So you don't have to have a big space to grow. And this is a picture of our backyard in Weslaco, Texas. And it's not really that big, but we were able to build what you see there. It's like a little greenhouse. It's basically some hoops with some plastic, and you can see we have little plants there in trays. That's how everything starts. And then we harvest it, and at this time you'll see we're actually growing and washing the vegetables in our backyard. So this is how we operated our farm for several years, straight from the back of our home. And once we were ready, we were able to go to a bigger plot that we actually borrowed. It was 1 acre. And then we started going to farmers markets. So this is a picture from a restaurant that was open in McAllen in downtown. And they were so nice to offer this service to the community. They actually opened up their patio and invited farmers to go and sell on Saturday mornings in their restaurant patio. So it's a beautiful location, and then they would also buy and support from the farmers. And this is what we would do every Saturday. And that's where you can also go and find your local produce. How many of you have ever been to a local farmer's market here in the valley? Any of you visited the farmer's market?
One person.
And which,
That's okay.
which
Two
one?
people.
Which one did you get? I mean, which one did you go to?
Where did they go? Where did they go, Chef Joe? I'm watching you. Squid Games.
Hello everybody. I usually go to the Vine House. It comes 2 miles
Mission.
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I visited that one. It's really a nice, beautiful location. Well, thank you for supporting the local farmers and going out to the farmers market. And there's several. There's one at the public library in McAllen. There's one at Fireman's Park. There's another in Far at the food bank. And so I encourage you all to go out and visit your markets and get to know your farmers. And also, just to start here. Okay, we're gonna go back. So we're growing and going to these farmers markets for a long time, for about maybe 5 years. And we had a program that we set up, and that's what you see right there in that picture. It's a farm fresh produce box. So we would actually take all of our products and put it in one box and send it to the customers. And eventually we were growing so much that we outgrew the 1 acre and we outgrew our backyard, and we wanted to turn this into something that was more full-time. So it started out as a hobby, and then we said, you know, there's a lot of potential here. So we decided to go and look for our own land. That's a big step for a farmer, to buy their own. A big decision.
You're like, I regret. No.
No. This is when we got serious and said, you know, this is more than a hobby. This is something that we want to dedicate our lives to. So we went and we looked for a piece of land here, and we needed help because we were just starting out and we didn't have a lot of money, but we knew there were resources, and there's a lot of resources for farmers because we need farmers. And so there's USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. They support farmers and they offer them low interest loans. So we reached out and we were able to get a loan so we could buy our own farm. And that was a big, big blessing. And so this is us taking a picture with the loan officer and our daughter, and we're excited that we were finally going to have our very own property. And we also got help. We applied for grants. We applied for other government programs. So whatever you're interested in, just keep at it and pursue it, and then the opportunities will open up to you. And so we applied for grants. We went looking for resources, and eventually we were able to have our own farm. And we started building it up. We had to put in an irrigation pond so we could water our plants. We put up some greenhouses to protect them. We put in water, and we built our farm with all of this help we received. And then we saw the results of all of our hard work. We started a CSA program. So I know I mentioned to you before about those little boxes. Well, that idea took off, and we actually were able to work with a local hospital to provide our vegetables for their employees. And so that was a very big step, and it happened because they cared and they knew that their produce was fresh for their employees, and they couldn't go to the market. So we would take the box to them. We would take these bags full of all these goodies for our doctors and nurses who are serving us. So this is what we started, a 50-member community-supported agriculture program. How many of you have ever heard of this community-supported or CSA or veggie boxes? Is this all new to you? Have you heard about it? Heard of this before?
No, nobody's heard.
No.
That's what
Okay.
Chef saying.
Okay, so
CSA, right?
Yeah,
CSA. What does it stand
CSA.
for? Community Supported Agriculture.
Yes,
Veggie
community
Box Program.
supported.
That's a big mouthful. CSA.
Yeah. So this program actually started kind of like in the situations that we're in right now in our society, where there's like sometimes shortages of food. You know, back when the pandemic hit, some people, they couldn't find the resources that they needed in the stores. And so they went and they turned to their local farmers. So this is back in Japan. And so they needed food and they didn't have time to grow it, but they knew people who could. And so they went and they approached the farmers and they said, you know what? I'm gonna pay you in advance to grow the food for me. So they actually contracted with the farmers. And so that's similar to what we do. With the CSA program, the community members come, they find a farmer and they say, we want fresh, clean produce, organic. Can you grow it for us? And then the farmer says, yes, I'll grow it for you. Can you help me out? Because I need to buy seed. I need to buy some plants. I need to buy some compost and tools. And they said, sure, we'll give you a certain amount to get you started. And then at the end, the farmer produces and they give them all that they have to the supporters.